This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Talent Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast hosted by me, Brian, and my pal, Zach. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Brian.
I'm trying to come up with a question here. That's the new thing. I was sitting at my computer, which just before we were starting, and like, what the fuck can I ask? I even like put into like Chat GPT, the AI thing. What's a dumb Smallville related question I can ask my friend? And the one it gave me, I wasn't going to use it, but I didn't come up with anything better, is what 3 Smallville characters would you want to go on Family Feud with?
Oh my God, Lionel Luthor.
Yeah, all right, I like that.
For sure. Family Feud, I mean, like, you need the smartest one, like Chloe Sullivan, Lionel Luthor, probably Lex. I mean, like, if I'm just like, although Family Feud isn't necessarily smartest. It's like, who knows people the best.
It's can you go broad? Are you good under pressure? Don't get me wrong. The game is designed to make you say a very silly thing because you're under pressure.
Like, I think I'm going to stick with the team I chose, but I would say like the people you would see on there are the Kents for sure.
They'd be into it. They wouldn't win. They would absolutely lose.
Yeah.
In high school, my buddy and I would play the Family Feud Super Nintendo game basically every weekend.
Oh my gosh.
We were real cool. And it was a terrible game, and that was kind of why it was fun, of like aggressively having to type in your answer letter by letter on a Super Nintendo controller, and it was never right. The answer was always some ridiculous, because there was also no like close enough element. You had to type it in exactly.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So it did Family Feud on the Super Nintendo. Highly recommend for all you Super Nintendo heads out there. Zach, what have you been watching this week?
I watched John Wick Chapter 4.
How'd that go? Sure is fucking long.
Yeah, my review is there's a reason these types of movies aren't normally this long. I mean, the first hour I was into it and I was like, this is good. There's some interesting characters, more interesting than we usually get in these movies. But by the end of it, the last hour is all nonstop action, and it's so much so that I'm falling asleep when there's like nonstop violence and gunshots and stuff.
It can be easy to check out when it just sort of all blurs.
It's so numbing.
Yeah.
Just if they cut 10 minutes out of every action sequence, I think it would have been a 4-star movie. But I just got there's a really cool sequence towards the end, but it would have been way more effective if I hadn't seen 30 minutes of action leading up to it.
Right. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my God. I'm so tired. Having said that, I think it's a good, if you're like a huge fan of the other John Wick movies, you'll probably fucking love it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm willing to bet I'm going to like it when I see it. I may not see it for a while because I don't have 3.5 fucking hours anymore.
Right. No,
or 2.5 or
obviously if I watch that, because the other this is the first one I saw in the theater, and the other ones I recently watched on streaming, and I liked them. And I think if I watched this on streaming, I would like it because I would stop halfway through and go eat or go to the bathroom or something.
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
But still, I mean, holy cow, we could cut 30 minutes out of this movie of just action scenes.
That said, it made fucking bank at the box office. It ain't scaring people away.
No, I'm happy it's making money. We need movies to make money.
That is true. But between that and Avatar, it's There was a headline going around. I don't remember which publication, but saying like audiences love long movies. They saw Avatar. They're seeing John Wick. And it's like, it's not the length of the movie. No one went and saw fucking Babylon because it was 2.5 hours.
No.
I think you're the, and I'm looking forward to saying, I think you're the only person in the world who has seen Babylon.
I think the reason people are seeing the movies is because they look good. They are made by people who have made other movies similar that people really like. In this case, John Wick 1 through 3.
Right.
In the case of Avatar, Aliens, Terminator 2, Titanic, Avatar.
Some of the greatest action films of all time.
And because they get really good reviews.
Right.
I mean, those are the big three. You know, they look good, made by people you trust, good reviews. I'm going to see it. I definitely, the 3-hour runtime, I'm going to see it in spite of that.
Right.
This is not a selling point ever for a movie.
Yes. It's, I think even last week we were talking about The Batman, which a movie we both like. But the length is not a feature; it's a bug. It's a
yes.
We liked it anyway.
You're right. Yes,
despite this glaring length issue. But the movie was that good that we were fine dealing with it.
Right. I hope that's not the lesson we're learning from these fucking things. Like, we need to rein them in. We need to rein them in.
Which is funny because theaters prefer shorter movies, right?
Right, because you get more showings in.
You get more showings in. That's more people coming in getting popcorn, which is where the fucking money is.
Yeah.
It's even if you go out and get like a refill of something that's not the same as another fucking showing, spending $60 on fucking popcorn. But the trend's going the other way.
I mean, as of right now, there's so few things in the theaters, so that they just put all John Wicks on all the screens or whatever, you know. Right. So they still
and
get
that's
their
so much
popcorn money.
That's true. That's so much easier to do now because of the digital distribution. I guess that was harder when you were getting literal physical print sent to the movie theater, and you could only show that in. If you wanted to, you had to order 2, and then now it's put it in all the theaters one weekend, and then you can slowly move it out. You know what I wonder? So I've always heard that common wisdom of more showings better. I wonder, we're big fans of the Alamo Drafthouse, and I wonder if that's different at a theater where they're serving alcohol. They serve meals.
Interesting.
Like, one drink begets more drinks, you know? 1 turns to 2, turns to 3.
Right,
sure. And more alcohol is, I mean, that's the best markup of all time for a business, right? Like,
for sure. And yeah, I think at a place like that, definitely.
That's it. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
What else?
Thing I watched. I just finished watching before we recorded. I texted you a little bit about this. A movie called The Ninth Gate.
Right.
Which is has a reputation as one of the not good movies from 1999.
Yes. What'd you think?
I watched it. I would say it's. I wouldn't say it's good. I enjoyed it. It's like you said, 1999's bad is much better than 2023's bad.
It's different. It's a different kind of bad. It looks more like a movie, so I'm giving it weird points that I maybe wouldn't have given it.
Yeah, so this movie, great cinematography, great score, good acting. It's directed by Roman Polanski, who...
I didn't know that.
Well, a decent director, we'll just say that.
I mean, he's pretty good.
Yeah. It's like the script is kind of weird and it's bloated, but it like you said, it looks like a movie, it sounds like a movie, which I can't say for all like today.
It's starring a movie star, like
right. the bad movies in 2023 look like mediocre TV shows.
Yes.
Which you couldn't really say for almost anything you saw in the theater in 1999 or in that era.
Right.
Even if it was worse than, like, there were plenty of movies that were worse than plenty of TV shows, but they looked like movies.
It's we earlier this year, Emily and I watched a whole bunch of Ashton Kutcher fucking movies, and it was funny the amount of times we were like, "Huh, this looks like a movie."
Right? Yeah.
That would never happen now. And this is shot on like 35 mil. This is
This is shot on film at an actual place.
right. The actors are in the same like scene.
They're in the same room together. Yeah.
I had a question. You mentioned last night that you watched The Ninth Gate on the streaming service Tubi, which I am a very vocal, big fan of Tubi, mostly because they have a great horror movie selection. If you don't want to shell out the $5 for Shudder, which I recommend you do, I like my Shudder subscription, Tubi has a great eclectic selection of weird shit. And the real appeal, of course, of Tubi is that it's free with ads. How do you feel about ads during movies?
It depends on the ads, like the length and the type of ad. I have used Crackle in the past, and I fucking hated it.
Crackle's rough.
Yeah, the Tubi experience was pretty easy. They're not like every 30 seconds, you know. It feels
roughly the same as watching a movie on cable.
Right, and the shorter ad breaks.
Right.
And they actually came at breaks in the story. Like, it seemed like someone actually went through and were like, okay, this is a good point. Crackle, it literally cuts in the middle of a line of dialogue. Like,
right. That's the thing about Tubi, and I assume it's an algorithm, right? I assume it's not a person going through, but it does take, like, the scene ends, at least.
Right.
And then it...
Yes.
But once upon a time, I would have probably said, like, no to ads during movies. Even though I watched movies on cable all the time, I would have said, like, that is an inferior way to watch a movie. And it is.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue with $0, you know?
It honestly depends on the movie.
That's also very true.
Like, oftentimes I go to Tubi, like you said, for the weirder titles that I can't find anywhere else, but they're on Tubi for whatever reason.
It's Tubi. I've described Tubi before. It feels like a box of DVDs kind of abandoned in your friend's basement. I never would watch Pixels anyway, in any capacity anywhere, but I don't know. It's sitting right here.
Right.
I'll throw it on.
I think I don't mind the commercials because it seems like it's basically only movies that I would only watch if I caught them on cable anyway. Like,
exactly.
Like, that's the whole appeal to Tubi. It's like, sure.
Right.
Like, I don't, this is so weird, but if The Ninth Gate was on HBO Max, I don't know that I click on it.
No.
I don't know what the difference is. Maybe it's because, like, there's so much other stuff on HBO Max that, like, seems like legit, but on Tubi I'm like, oh, Ninth Gate, all right.
There's just this element of, I don't know, I'm on Tubi.
Right. I came here to slum it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, I literally watched Pixels one morning. I had to get up and feed my daughter, and it was like, granted that helped, but the Adam Sandler vehicle Pixels, where like video games come to life and attack New York, or attack Earth. And of course it was terrible, but it wasn't terrible in a way you couldn't have predicted. You know, it's
right. Yeah.
It was only guilty of being the Adam Sandler video game vehicle, you know? You can't go into Pixel's house and be like, why is this bad? You came into its house.
Yeah, you're a guest here.
You know what? Here's the thing. I grew up in kind of a ho-dunk, little bit of a rednecky town with lots of adult men who loved Adam Sandler movies because they were kind of dumb. And don't dumb people deserve movies?
I mean, if you're going to get a dumb movie, an Adam Sandler movie is the way to go. Like, it's
right.
the tenderloin steak of dumb movies. You know what I mean? It's just
Yes.
It's a good cut of dumb movie.
He's made some stinkers though.
Well, like the thing about the best when we're talking about Happy Madison, Adam Sandler stuff.
Yes.
Not like when he does serious stuff, which is usually really good, but
right.
when it comes to heavy medicine stuff, like the best, the really good ones, and the worst ones are all equally dumb. It's not like
Right.
it's not like the good ones are better because they're smarter.
Right. Very true. Very true. Oh, great points all around. Did you watch anything else or any other thoughts on free streaming platforms?
No, I will say, and you and I texted about this a little bit, but I watched for the first time since probably 2004, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, right. What was so your initial verdict was not positive.
No, I ended up, if this was Siskel and Ebert, I would give it a thumbs up, but it would be a very lukewarm thumbs up. It gets a thumbs up for just creativity, the concept, the direction, all great, all the aesthetics, all that. I really didn't like, and two actors I really love, Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey. I did not like those characters in the movie.
Yeah.
They did not age well, either of them, for me. And I just had a tough time getting past that.
Yeah, well, I'm so curious. For a couple of years now, I've been meaning to revisit it. You know, it's one of those. I have very like fond memories of it. Of like I snuck into that movie with my friends because I couldn't get in because I wasn't 17 yet. What a weird one to sneak into, right? If, like, as far as the cliches go, we're gonna sneak into the Michelle Gondry movie, the latest Charlie Kaufman fucking joint.
Yeah,
we're
right.
all being John Malkovich heads.
They wouldn't even kick you out of that fucking movie if they saw
they
you.
wouldn't let me in. I tried to buy a ticket. They denied me. So so we did the classic. There was some fucking Stephen King, Johnny Depp thing. It was like PG-13. I think like John Turturro shows up at Johnny Depp's house. And
like, yes, Secret Window,
something like that. And so we bought tickets to that, and like I was like a little rule follower, right? And so like I went and I sat down in the Secret Window theater, and my buddy Ryan just like, we're not seeing this movie. No, get up, you idiot. Like, but it was you know, I was probably a junior in high school where I'm really just starting to like realize you can take film seriously, and as an art and not just something to pass time. Right. And it was a really formative, like, I didn't know you could do that movie. And for a long time, I would have considered it one of my favorites, but I haven't seen it in I think probably a decade.
For a lot of people, I think it was a huge touchstone for a lot of people. I had that with Adaptation, which was, I think, the one he wrote before this, which blew me away. Yeah, I'm real curious to hear what you think if you watch it again.
Yeah, I'll get around. It'll be its time eventually. I revisited in the last couple of years, Garden State. Which is interesting with Zach Braff coming out with a new film that people do not like.
I mean, it did. I think it's got better reviews than his last one.
Right. I Wish I Was Here, I think is the title of that, his last one, which is the worst title for I've ever heard. But Garden State, I found interesting in that, no, it's cringy in all the ways it's, earned its reputation for being a cringy 2000s indie comedy, right? That said, when it was being funny, it was pretty funny. It was not a whole, like I said, a kind of a lukewarm, taking the nostalgia out of it, a lukewarm thumbs up, ultimately, from me.
I think Zach Braff is funny.
Right.
And also, worst case scenario, Garden State, you're listening to some good music for an hour and a half.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I forget what tangent it was. Was I just talking about movies? Was I just talking about movies?
We were talking about Eternal Sunshine, and then
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very, very interested to revisit it. I watched a couple of things, nothing crazy. We were feeling lazy one night. We rewatched the 2012 21 Jump Street. It's a funny movie.
I love that movie. I love that
really,
movie.
really like it. Frequently just good jokes per minute, likable, charismatic leads.
Oh
Hard to go
man,
wrong with that one, man.
so good. Will
I think
anyone
both are good. I like the sequel too.
question? I should maybe save this for the Smallville gods, but they probably don't even know. Will anyone ever pay to see a comedy in the movie theaters ever again?
I don't know.
Has
I don't fucking
is
know.
that done? Is that done?
I think it's done.
Like, I guess they do, in that everything now is a comedy. Like all the Marvel movies, and like everything has the funny, witty.
Everything is and isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a straight like 21 Jump Street.
Right. Right.
Comedies were a huge part of the movie going experience for so long.
Right. It was just the whole thing was the movie was funny.
Right. And you
It wasn't the story, it wasn't the character, it was just the movie's
the difference
funny.
between that and watching a really funny TV show is that you would go in a room full of other people and laugh together.
Yes. Yes.
Which is a different experience than laughing by yourself.
Yes. The only thing I can think of is Jackass Forever made fucking money comparatively for its shitty budget. But that I do remember some headlines following that of like, shit, do people maybe want to go see a funny thing?
I want to be in a theater that is as packed as John Wick 4 was today, but it's a comedy and we're all
see some
laughing.
goof 'em ups.
What's
Because
that?
no one gave a shit about that John Hamm Fletch.
No, I saw that in theaters and it was just a couple people.
Right. That movie was fine. I liked it.
Yeah, that was fun. That wasn't like as funny.
I'm not begging for more Fletch.
I'll watch another Fletch.
Sure.
That's not a comedy on the level of like a 21 Jump Street.
Very true. Right. Let's see. I also, we're currently in my, I don't know, things I watch while I'm feeding my daughter slump. Also on Tubi, I watched the 2017 Power Rangers movie, which
I have seen the first half of that.
Okay.
I watched it with kids, and I would have kept watching, but we had to stop it for whatever reason because kids got shit to do. But yeah, wasn't bad.
That's the thing. It's not good. I wouldn't argue it's good. I think it's better than I think a lot of people would have expected. They tried, and there's something charming. It doesn't look good. The designs of everything look bad. The Power Ranger stuff itself looks bad. But like, they tried, and I also have some Power Ranger nostalgia. I was right there in the demo in that Ninja Turtles are fading, Power Rangers are coming up.
Right.
So I was there. And it's funny, whether or not this was a good choice or not, I don't know. But all of like the Power Ranger stuff, right, is compressed into the final half hour of that movie. And seeing it in a theater with a bunch of other 30-year-old dudes, just all like, that's the thing from that TV show from when I was a kid, was a euphoric half hour of stupidity. Like,
wait, did you see it in the theater?
I did see it in theaters.
Oh, okay. And you're rewatching it.
Yeah, gotcha. I was like, oh, right, I kind of didn't mind this. And, it's about the same as I remember. Not good, but not bad. It's not bad. Let's see. The only other thing worth noting is just before this, Emily and I watched I Love My Dad from 2022. Have you heard of this?
Patton Oswalt?
Yes, Patton Oswalt plays a father who is estranged from his early 20s son. So he poses as a young woman online in order to speak to his son. It is a crawl, like your skin just crawls awkward. Not as bad as I was afraid of. Like, as my head goes to that like Robin Williams, Bobcat Goldthwait, World's Greatest Dad that came out in like 2008, 2009, maybe 2010. It's not quite like that oppressively awkward, but there are a couple of scenes that I absolutely was like watching through my fingers, like, someone please make this stop. But overall, a solid 3 stars down the middle, pretty good. Liked it, was glad we watched it.
Someone is pounding on a wall. It doesn't sound like an emergency.
Cool. For
the listeners, I live in an apartment building where there's often a lot of stuff going on.
We have stopped the recording twice so that Zach could inform some authorities on a potential situation.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't think we're gonna have to do that this time. I think we're good. I think we're good to
We'll
go.
See what happens.
Yeah.
We'll go with the flow. Oh, and I did watch Maximum Overdrive, which was awful.
Oh, Brian. So I had never seen Maximum Overdrive. I have read the short story it's based on.
Yeah.
And I do think that could make a really fun movie, and they should remake it, but not.
They should. So it's
remake.
Stephen King's. It's Stephen King's only. It's his debut and his only film.
Directorial. He directed it. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm stealing this from Letterboxd. I did not come up with this thought myself, but I believe Stephen King, like Friends and Family, staged an intervention for him in 1987. Maximum Overdrive came out in 1986.
Yeah.
This is a movie directed by cocaine.
I think he basically has said as much himself.
Yes, I believe he said he doesn't remember much of it.
Yeah.
But and for the first maybe like half hour, I'm like, what is everyone talking about? This is pretty good. It's just dumb as a bag of rocks. Just basically an asteroid flies overhead, a comet passes, and it makes all the machines rise up and try to kill everybody in 1980s suburban America. And there's just like cars running over kids and shit. And it's machines.
It takes place in the suburbs, huh?
I believe so. It slows down significantly after that first half hour. Mostly takes place at a truck stop.
Okay,
kind of
that's
like a
where
Redneck The Mist.
Yeah, the short story was everyone's stuck in this truck stop. Yeah.
It slows to a fucking crawl. And then like the action, quote unquote action, like suspense scenes aren't very well done. So it's just I was only watching for the Joe Bob bits by the end there, like kind of fast forward and through the movie to get to the Joe Bob bits. Stinker, big time stinker. I'm stealing this again.
Directing is a different skill than writing books.
Absolutely. I'm stealing this from Branson Reese's Letterboxd review, but it was something to the effect of, beware of anyone who says that this is underrated or actually good. They will do dangerous things to appear interesting.
I feel that way about a lot of movies.
Yep. I think that's it. Should we get into Smallville?
Yes, an episode that I did a little research was the alternate title of this episode was Alicia Who?
On the WB Wednesday, fresh new Smallville.
College football is big business.
Having it all means doing anything to win.
What's he trying to cover up?
Tom Welling, the OC's Chris Carmack.
Who the hell are you? Where is she?
Fresh new Smallville on the WB Wednesday.
This week we watch Recruit. It's the 13th episode in the 4th season of Smallville, the 79th episode overall. That's 10 away from the funny number. It aired February 9th, 2005. I, of course, am reading directly from smallville.fandom.com. Wow, we're all the way in 2005. We're blasting through time.
Yeah, I'm out of high school.
Wow.
I'm 1 year older than the characters on the show. I'm Lois's age.
Got it. Wow. Well, speaking of Lois, at Metropolis University, Lois is at the worst-looking frat party in the world.
Well, Brian, what were we wearing in 2005? Collectively, not you and me specifically, although that also.
Yes.
What were we as a society wearing?
Just, it's so funny, like, at the time, would you, in the same way we do now, it's like trying to imagine, like, what could be wrong with this? What could be weird about this? And then you get a couple years away and like, what the fuck?
Right, yeah.
What the fuck?
Why didn't we think, oh, maybe we should get clothes that fucking fit our body? Oh, man.
Oh, what a time. It's a little bit, because like when you watch Friends, right, especially like the early Friends seasons, none of their clothes fucking fit. Baggy was in,
Right.
and I think it's a weird bastardization of that. I have a theory. I have an ultimate theory about fashion and everyone's fashion, right? So fashion trends begin with hot people, right? Hot people wear a thing.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, I want to wear the thing hot people wear, because then I will be hot. And the thing is, so hot people are hot. They look good in anything. And then, so you pick up the trendy stuff, and then you look trendy. Great. And then once the mirror goes back, it's like, uh-oh. Now the trendiness has gone away, and you look bad, and your clothes don't fit.
That's a great theory, and I think I agree with it. That's lovely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's, you notice Tom Welling still looks fine, you know?
Right, yeah.
No one's like, oh, why does Kristen Crook look like that?
Right, yeah. No amount of baggy pants is going to make Tom Welling not look handsome. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. So Lois is at a frat party competing in a drinking contest against football player Coop.
very,
When another...
very Marion Ravenwood Raiders of the Lost Ark
Yes,
introduction.
it's directly from that.
Basically, I think it's the same shot, like when she flipped the, yeah.
So when another football player, Coop's roommate, Jeff Johns, tries to break it up due to upcoming physicals, Coop continues and loses against Lois. This actor playing Jeff Johns is by this point he would have been off it. He was on the OC. He was the bully character in the first season of the OC. They kind of wrapped up that storyline where he was a bully, and they kind of gave him a little bit of an arc, and then they kind of didn't have anything to do with him, so they kind of tried to like make him part of the friend group, and it didn't really work, and I think he left the show, which is a shame because he became one of our favorites. They dumbed him up significantly. He just went, his IQ dropped significantly just into a golden retriever of a man. And Emily and I are fully charmed by that. And we think Luke deserves more justice on the OC. But I'll talk more about that on my OC podcast.
I call it the Eric Matthews condition.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's whatever hit Eric Matthews in the fucking head hit Luke in the head. And it's going around. Okay, so after the party, a drunken Coop attempts to hit on Lois. But when he grabs hold of her shoulder, Lois kicks him to the ground and walks away.
I want to say this kid, I know he was drunk, but he tries to make his move in the pouring rain. They're out in the middle of the street. He's taking his shot in the pouring rain.
And then he gets his shot in the chest. Okay, so Lois kicks him to the ground and walks away. The following morning, a hungover Lois is woken up in her dorm by the knocking of police officers at her door. Lois confirms that she in fact knocked down Coop and is put under arrest for allegedly paralyzing him. Is that how this would go?
No, I think they have a conversation with her before the arrest. Ask her maybe some more questions.
Yeah. Right, because the second she you put her under arrest, she ain't talking. Now she's talking through a lawyer. You want to get her to admit to some things first here.
Exactly.
So at the Kent barn, Clark is preparing for his visit to Met You. Jonathan does not feel Clark will be able to resist using his abilities in the pressured atmosphere of college football when Jeff shows up to pick up Clark and show him around Met You. Before leaving, they stop by Smallville High, and Jeff encourages Clark that he will be a great football player there. Lois, out on bail, arrives at the high school she doesn't go to talk to Chloe about the incident.
Yeah,
You
'cause
can't just
phones
go into
don't
a high
exist.
school and just be like, yo, I'm here to talk to my cousin.
Yeah, because phones don't exist.
Yeah, right.
So in the scene with Papa K, when he's, Johnny K's letting it known that he's nervous, the same conversation we've seen in 7 of these episodes. Clark says the line, something to the effect of, I'm, number 1 recruit to college and I didn't even have to use my powers. Sorry, what?
So we're just pretending you're just naturally good at this, bud?
Yeah. I like in his head that he can ever not use his powers.
Right. It does. There seems to be a Smallville thing where, like, the powers are a thing he can turn on. You just are Superman.
Right, yeah. You didn't lift weights to get the 6-pack and the biceps.
Right.
You're cheating already.
You just don't
walking
get
around.
tired. Unless you can turn that off.
Not getting tired or being in pain when someone tackles you is using your superpowers. Okay, Clark?
Yeah, you're having a big dude burling, just throwing himself at you with everything he has and just being like, no big deal.
Yeah.
An advantage. Advantage. Scales are tilted a little bit. So, Lois goes back to Met You, and Chloe decides to join too, so she can visit the financial aid office. Convenient.
Yeah. They're like,
when Clark-
she's financially, don't worry about it. She's got to be in the episode. Shut the fuck up. It's fine.
When Clark meets up with them, Chloe is surprised that Clark decides to take the Met U football scholarship, considering he has an unfair advantage. Right, Chloe knows about Clark now.
Yes, she found out last week.
And honestly, I think this is a fun place to be in, story-wise.
Yes.
End of fun story things for this episode.
Yeah, is the next paragraph about Jason?
We're not quite, but close. And so we got for this episode, positives there, negatives, everything else we're about to talk about this week.
I think we're entering a rough stretch here. Maybe.
I won't say it's not like one of like the true full stinker episodes, right?
No.
Where like I don't want, there are episodes where like I don't even want to fucking watch this, you know? This isn't like that, but we are fully in like bad storyline mode.
This is like, by the numbers kind of blah Clark storyline, and then a side Lana Lex thing that no one could possibly care about.
No one's in their home like, hey, get through the Clark thing. I want to see what's going on with Lex and Lana.
No, I mean, I'm jumping the gun, but do you get the sense that with that whole Jason, Lana, Isabel storyline, the writers are trying to bide time because they don't know what that story is heading
There's
to?
absolutely no way this storyline was like fully like fleshed out. It must have been we'll figure it out because it's fucking ridiculous. In a show that has routinely been stupid.
But they're moving that storyline like a centimeter every episode, if that. They're just jogging in place.
Yeah, it's because I don't think they know what's going on. I think Jensen Ackles was maybe supposed to be more of an investment, like
right.
And then was maybe supposed to play a bigger role. He'll get Supernatural.
Yeah. The pilot for Supernatural got picked up, is my guess.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, now we have to write him out, and we still need to figure out what the fuck this storyline is.
Right. It's rough. Which for a show like this, the show's begun airing, right? And they're still making them while they're airing. Yeah. For a 22. So like I think it's we'll figure it out. They don't figure it out. So, Clark, not knowing that Chloe knows about his abilities, tells her that being a great football player is what's bringing him back to Met You. Chloe doesn't want to let Clark know she knows his secret, so she glosses over it by saying that she doesn't understand football. Before the conversation can go any further, Jeff returns to escort Clark away. Oh, here we go. Get ready. Jason enters the Luthor mansion and questions Lex Luthor's job offer. I mean, this would be a snore if it wasn't also fucking brain-rattlingly fucking stupid.
Well, literally last week was all about the job offer. Now he walks in this week and is like, I thought about it.
Jason does not like the fact that Lex was trying to break up his relationship with Lana. Lex tells Jason that the true threat is his own mother, Genevieve, who has been researching their ancestry, which ties in with Lana being possessed by her former ancestor, Countess Margaret Isabel Thoreau. Now, having seen that episode, right, months ago by this point, we watched that episode. So we've seen it in the show. And it didn't feel that crazy then, right? This is an episode of Smallville. Mm-hmm. It's just to have Lex casually be like, and then the witch took over Lana. Moving on, that thing we both agree is a real thing that happened.
Well, I think the problem here is that we had the Fun Witch episode, and then nothing interesting has happened in this storyline since. That was like several episodes ago.
I guess that's really like, because I was trying to parse why does it feel so ridiculous in a show where green rocks give people like superpowers. But I think you're right. In like this magic thing, the football barely moves, and then all of a sudden a character will be like, oh right, the magic witch. And you're like, wait, what? Hang on, what?
This storyline so badly needs Lionel. That's all I'm saying. It needs Lionel
involved.
Where
would you even put him?
It doesn't matter. You just put him in there, and then he'll scheme with. Because right now they're trying to do the Lionel thing without Lionel. They're trying to have people scheming and playing mind games with each other. And Lionel's MIA because he's born again and not in these episodes. So until they get Lionel back off the bench, they're going to struggle with this.
I think you're right. Lex is trying to convince Jason that Genevieve may be the cause for the Countess's possession of Lana. And Jason's assignment is to learn how much Genevieve and Lana know about the Countess. Burping right into the mic. Jason, convinced, does not like the fact that he would have to spy on both his mother and his girlfriend about their ancestrally intimate bonds. At the hospital, that's a wild stretch of words. At the hospital, Lois attempts to speak with the paralyzed Coop. Wanting to learn more about Coop, Chloe and Lois decide to look through his bouquet of flowers and get well cards. They figure they should meet Coop's girlfriend Monique, a sorority girl of Tri Alpha.
We need to get Clark into the sorority house so we can have some CW or WB sanctioned.
Oh, we got some. This is
stuff.
This is. I fully went like, what? This fucking scene. Clark and Jeff enter the Tri Alpha sorority house where a welcome party has been thrown just for him. All the sorority sisters run to the door to greet him and are willing to do anything to make him commit to Met You. Two of the girls bring Clark into a bedroom where they attempt to seduce Clark. And uneasy Clark, like fully, it's a like bring him down onto the bed and like unbutton their shirts. One of these sorority girls here is on Silicon Valley, I believe. Is the I don't know if you saw that, but I don't know. She's the main character on that. She's very good on Silicon Valley.
So one of the first things they say is, we did a little detective work and found out chocolate is your favorite flavor. And like they pull out a chocolate cake. That. It's like, oh, solve that case, did you? Chocolate is someone likes chocolate. What a
So, okay, an uneasy Clark tries to stall and hears a noise in the closet. So I must say, Clark is not making much of these advances, right? He's constantly trying to like his way out of them, right? As they push him down. I will say, as much as like part of my animal brain is like, who would do that? I do think in high school, me especially in high school, even now, probably would be like, I have to go.
I agree. I would be the same way in high
Too
school.
scary.
Yes. This is where I remembered that in last week's episode, Clark lost the love of his life, who was hung to death in her barn.
Which it's simultaneously like, okay, time has clearly passed, right? There can be an unspecified number of weeks or months in between episodes where Jason's just been thinking about the job offer.
Right. Yeah.
This could be the next fucking day, going by that storyline's rules.
Even if it is weeks or months, like you're 17 years old and the girl you were in love with, or you thought you were, gets hung to death. That's a few years.
Which, it's the situation this show is in, right? Of like, of, oh man, what? Hey, I'm new to this show, Smallville. Why is Clark moping? Oh, his girlfriend was hung to death last episode. Oh, is that going to come back in any way? No.
Right. I do remember being frustrated with shows growing up and of this era a lot, where it's like something major happened last week and then we just don't talk about it this week.
Right.
Like it never happened.
Oh, what a nightmare. Okay, so Clark hears a noise in the closet. He uses his X-ray vision on the closet and sees a person. He convinces the girls that he is both hungry and thirsty as he finds Lois in the closet. It's not clear here. He sends the girls away. We're like, can I get something to drink? I think I'm hungry too. So he finds Lois in the closet. Clark questions Lois on why she is there to learn that she is reading the diary of Coop's girlfriend Monique for clues. She discovers that Monique had suspicions that the football team has a secret, and this resulted in Coop meeting with a reporter about it. At the hospital, Coop is visited by Jeff as he sees Coop's paralysis is wearing off. Jeff suspects that when Coop regains consciousness, he will tell the world about his secret, so Jeff induces more paralysis and then smothers him. Dun dun dun.
I feel like they can tell when someone gets smothered with a pillow, though.
I think they at Smallville Medical.
Oh, what? They're not in Smallville. They're in Metropolis.
Oh shit. Maybe it's all of Kansas. So at MetU, Lois and Clark are looking for Jeff at his dormitory. Jeff, teary-eyed, informs them that the coach just called to inform them that Coop is dead. Lois, fearing that she will be locked up for sure, tells Jeff she knows that Coop wanted to go to the newspaper to reveal something. After some tension between Jeff and Lois, Jeff tells Clark that Lois has done enough damage already. Any thoughts here?
No, I'm sorry. There's just nothing. There's just nothing to talk about.
The third act of this is pretty fucking weird.
Wait, I just realized. Have we forgotten to keep track of concussions? Have there been any concussions last week?
I don't think so. I kind of noted like, wow, there was nothing there. I don't, unless we missed some. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. There was a hanging, but that's
different. That's
different. Way different.
At the Talon apartment, Lana is furious that Jason accepted Lex's job offer, and I took a fucking nap. Jason tells her he would use this.
Look, actors must know when the scene is nothing, right?
Always, of course,
because they are, if nothing else, they are keyed into motivation and their character's motivation. Right. And when there's just nothing there, it just must be awful.
We truly haven't known what to do with Lana for most of this show. Right. the girl Clark wants, and then it's a little like, maybe this, maybe that, and it's like,
Right.
it's fucking. What they haven't tried doing is giving her a good story.
I think they tried with this. Their goal was like, we're gonna give Lana something to do this season. She gets to play a witch. That'll be fun, and it was for a few episodes. She got a new boyfriend. She had good chemistry with him, and then it just stopped being good.
It just, she gets stuck in these like fucking football moving episodes. Just some like 1 yard fucking plays, you know?
Right. Well, no matter what, she always ends up as a pawn in like
right.
other people's machinations.
Right. It does like hit a point, and this is not her fault. This is not Kristen Krug's fault at all. It's just the way this show is written. But it hits these points of like, would you even say you do here? You know? Like,
I mean, it's a credit to Kristen Krug that the character stuck around for 7 seasons because
definitely.
It operates solely on her charms as an actress. Like,
yes, agree.
It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's because of her.
Yes. Okay, so Jason tells Lana that he would use this to get to know more about Lex, as well as for him and Lana's research on the Countess. Lana fears that taking this job would be Lex and Genevieve's way of breaking them up. Jason tells Lana to trust him, and she decides to see Lex for herself. The stakes here also just feel like, you're trying to break me and my girlfriend up. Like, it feels goofy.
But we've had this scene and this argument with Lex and him like 3 times already, haven't we?
Right, yeah. It's, At Met You, a wake is being held for Coop with Jeff giving a speech. At Met You, okay. His family doesn't want to like do it somewhere else. It's fine. Who am I to say? Jeff begins drinking and tells Clark that being a Metropolis Bulldog player is a dream come true, but it also brings much pressure from everyone. Clark uses his super hearing when Jeff meets with a student, Marcus, outside of the room. He learns that Marcus has been paid to provide fake urine samples for Jeff's physicals.
Is that Marcus's urine?
I guess so. I mean, are you acquiring other urine to sell? I've never sold
that's
urine.
what I'm like.
Give me your pee.
He's acquiring urine samples from his dick because there's no like. Why would you need a guy to? Can't you just go to a friend and be like, "Can I have your urine?"
I guess so.
Like you need a guy to switch the urine for you. You don't need a guy to bring you the urine. You can get your own urine.
Right. Nah, he's my number one guy. Yeah,
he's my urine guy. Yeah, who's your worm guy?
Let's see. He learns that Marcus has been paid to provide fake urine. Blah blah blah. Witnesses Jeff momentarily paralyzing Marcus with his hands. Clark sees that. Yeah. Okay. Chloe is filling out her financial aid form with Lois in the dorm as Clark comes in. He tells them that Jeff paralyzed Coop and that he passes his physicals using Marcus's urine sample. Clark realizes that Jeff must have the ability to paralyze other people with it. Why does he need the urine for the physicals?
Wait, that's a great question.
Would they have kryptonite in them?
Right. Yeah, he's super powered.
I'm just wondering, he's not like also doing meth. Like...
Has anyone ever been kicked out of a sport because they tested positive for meth?
Yeah, that famous performance enhancing meth.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's a great question. Maybe just the urine collection is totally separate from the rest.
Does Clark have a urine guy? You have to get a physical for fucking football.
The Kents can't afford a urine guy. It's Johnny K's urine.
Dad, I want to play football. You know what time it is. Where have we gotten that scene? What's going on with Clark's piss? What's going on with Clark's piss? I want less fucking evil witch, more details on the piss.
I can tell you the stream is very strong.
Clark realizes that Jeff must have the ability to paralyze other people with the touch of his hand, concluding that he must be meteor infected. Lois tells Clark that no one beyond the Smallville town limits would believe that the Metropolis football star has superhuman powers. Okay. Now...
Is this the weekly segment? Is this the weekly segment?
Just moving the bar on where the fuck...
Who knows about meteor rocks?
Now it's the town of Smallville, but it hasn't spread anywhere else.
I was going to say, even within the town of Smallville, there seems to be some skepticism.
Yeah.
And yet, people are incarcerated at the hospital Belle Reve. Isn't that in Metropolis?
Oh, Smallville. Lois finds Marcus and obliquely asks him where she can find a clean urine sample. Marcus denies this, and Jeff comes from behind. Lois attempts to leave, but is completely paralyzed by Jeff. He tells her that in high school he played football fairly, but once he entered college, it was too much pressure to win. Now that Lois knows too much, Jeff decides to take matters into his own hands. This made me laugh my fucking ass off. He drags her into his truck and then he drives away as her sunglasses fall from her pocket.
In broad daylight. He is in a parking lot with a lot of people. And he drags this woman into his car.
Chloe looks for Lois in the parking lot and sees Jeff's truck drive by. She finds Lois' shades now broken in her hands. Chloe races to find Clark and tells him what happened. Clark knows that if Jeff is in his truck, there is a way to track him down due to the TripStar system. We had a scene where he gives Clark a ride and he explains TripStar, which is definitely just OnStar.
Right. Yeah.
But in order to hack into the system from a computer, they need Jeff's PIN. Clark impersonates Jeff on the phone, and after discovering the truck's location, he super speeds away, leaving Chloe alone in the room. There's a good scene here, I think, where Chloe is like, what, you can't just, they keep that stuff pretty hidden. You can't just go to the dealership and like open a safe, can you?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I would fuck with him so much if I knew his secret.
Right?
Oh, and you can't blame her. Like, she's been fucked with so long by him.
Yeah, right?
She has a right to fuck with him back for a few years.
Absolutely.
If she wants.
So down in the sewers, Jeff is carrying the paralyzed Lois and places her on the ground. He apologizes, saying he never meant to hurt anyone, and this is what gets me. He's like, don't worry, it'll be fast. He then proceeds to turn on the valve, slowly flooding the floor as he leaves a paralyzed Lois on the fucking ground. He's paralyzed her with his magic kryptonite powers. He's in the sewer, opening a valve, and just going to slowly drown her.
Yeah.
Not quick, my dude.
No, yeah. Slow drowning, not quick. Slow is in the title. Also, they're in the sewer. Is that just sewer water? That's gross.
I wasn't quite sure what, like, I think the wiki even here took a little like, it's the sewers maybe.
Yeah, somewhere there's pipes.
Underground with pipes is where we are.
It's the place where you drown people.
Yeah, right? Where do you drown people? So Jeff heads towards his truck until Clark gets a hold of him. Jeff's paralysis ability is ineffective against Clark, and Jeff confesses that his ambition to win is what led him to use his abilities out on the field. He lightly paralyzes any football players that come in his way. He had to resort to killing those that would expose him, beginning with Coop.
Just a light paralyzation. Just lightly paralyzed.
Just a little light paralyzation.
Just a touch of paralyze.
Right. He confesses to where Lois is, and Clark heads down to the sewers. Lois is still fully paralyzed on the ground, submerged in water, losing consciousness, slowly drowning. Clark incinerates the gate using his heat vision and lifts Lois from the water. I also don't understand the logistics here of, like, there's a gate, right, that Jeff closes, but it's a fully, like, grated gate. So the water's going to flood out, and this is going to be a very slow process.
Also, why did he use his heat vision he could just push that gate open. He's fucking Superman, right? You just knock
Right?
that thing off the hinges.
That's a little yucky. You gotta wash your hands after. Like, sewer grate? No thanks.
They really missed an opportunity here because Lois was underwater, fully submerged for God knows how long. Clark comes and gets her and takes her out of the water. And then they just like, she turns toward him and they ADR like, Clark, like signifying that she can breathe.
Right.
You couldn't give us a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation scene with Clark and Lois?
Fuck.
Come
That would have
on.
been good.
This is the WB.
Shit.
And then she like
that
comes
could've gone in your
through and it's
promo
like
and everything.
awkward. Like they both kind of felt like, oh, I kind of liked it. I don't know. That whole thing.
Shit. Fuck. They were so proud of themselves to not make any sort of romantic thing though.
Right, that's true. They were just like, how long can we hold off on this?
Right. Okay, at the Kent house, Jonathan and Martha are speechless after discovering what Jeff, the football star, did. Speechless? Like, really? Like, this happens every week, guys.
Yeah.
Every week your son comes home like, you're never going to guess what happened. Clark reconsiders his football scholarship, not wanting to have to lie on every physical, and ultimately resort to using his abilities on the field, like Jeff, where the stakes are much higher than in high school. Clark decides to give up football, and with it, his full scholarship to METU. I could see Johnny Cage just being like, hey, whoa, hang on.
All of a sudden he's pro football.
Yeah, right. What if we really, really restrict it back just enough to bench it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. What if you get the scholarship and then have some kind of injury?
Yeah, right. What happens to a scholarship there? They probably take it away, right?
If you get an injury?
Yeah, right.
I don't
That would
know.
suck. But...
That would blow, yeah. That would really blow.
Like just a very clear, and of course it is, but just a very clear, like, no, this was all you were good for.
Yeah. What if Clark just was good enough to stay on the team but not play? Like he kept giving flashes of he's the backup QB.
Right, right. I think that's the move. Lex meets Lana at the Talon apartment and tells her Jason was brought up knowing about the Countess. That's we gotta get to some fucking resolution here on this.
This
don't fucking know.
This does not make any sense if you knew.
No. It's a nightmare.
No,
I think this was the week fucking Supernatural got picked up.
Yeah.
It's like, peace later, I'm out. This causes Lana to reevaluate how well she knows Jason. I don't remember where this storyline is going. Do they, like, save it at all?
I remember there being a fun episode coming up that features Lana all becoming a witch again. So when they go there with it, I'm having fun.
Sure.
But the stuff with his mom, I'm never really having that much fun with.
Sure. That makes sense. Lois
this whole storyline really sputters to a close. Like it stumbles toward the finish line.
Yeah.
If I remember right, the season ends strong, but that storyline is a fucking mess.
Sure, that makes sense. Lois visits Clark at the barn to thank Clark for saving her. Lois reveals that she ends up being cleared of all charges, but has been expelled from METU for drinking underage, and not for the first time. Lois guilts Clark into inviting her back to live with the Kents. You don't want to run that by the folks?
Come on, the show needs it.
The show needs it. We'll let it pass.
The show needs Lois there. Quick. Lois said in that scene, if it wasn't for Clark, she would probably be at the bottom of the Mississippi right now. Is Metropolis on the Mississippi River?
That must be. Fuck you, you fucking brilliant bastard.
Is that what the body of water is supposed to be? That obvious
what else would it
ocean?
fucking be?
It's an ocean, Brian.
Well, in the DC universe. ... I don't have anything to follow that up with. Okay, so at school, Chloe meets Clark, excitedly tells him that she is also admitted to METU, so he wouldn't go there alone. Clark says that he refused the university. Chloe is at first surprised, but then feels respect for Clark. She says he is destined to do a lot more in this world. Clark is surprised at these words, but Chloe clears herself, saying that it's just a hunch. This is a good scene.
I would say the one person who acquits themselves nicely in this episode, Allison Mack.
I'd agree.
She's very good in this episode. She's very good playing this Chloe that knows Clark's secret, but he doesn't know she knows. I think she just gets better from here.
And you know, this is and I've kind of missed this because I do like this dynamic of this kind of brings back a little like Chloe and Clark is a fun little matchup.
Right, yes.
That's a fun little matchup.
They're doing what they did with Pete to try to save his character, but only it works with Allison Mack.
Right.
Where she finds out and that just opens up so much stuff for her character, whereas Pete found out and then they thought it was going to open things up, but then it was like, oh no, this is the dead end. This is even worse.
Right. Exactly. I wonder if what would have happened if they had both Pete and Chloe find out, and then they both could have been, for lack of a better, like just Clark's Buffy gang, you know?
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Interesting.
I wonder if that would have saved Pete, or if they both would have been stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. So at the METU football stadium, Clark stands alone, staring all around him at what could have been his, then slowly walks away.
This moment needed a better needle drop. I don't know what...
I'm very familiar with this song. This was Untitled by Simple Plan, and it's Simple Plan was on the edge of that real whiny emo rock, right?
Yes.
That
I was
pop
like,
emo.
I didn't know for sure, but I was like, this is Simple Plan-esque.
Yes, it's...
Look, I like some of their songs.
Sure, I mean, yeah, they had hits.
This one was not a winner for me.
No, and I was never a big Simple Plan guy. I was never too into that very, very, like, high-pitched wiener pop rock, you know?
Yeah.
It's... Yeah, I mean, I did like laugh when it came up, and that's always a good needle drop makes me laugh. But, other featured music in this episode, we have Wonderful Night by Fatboy Slim. We have It's All Behind by Anthony Michelangelo. The Thunderer by APM Music. Finding Out True Love is Blind by Louis XIV. And Wild West Show by Big and Rich. That's more needle drops than I would have guessed.
That was all party background music, right?
Oh, right. So they were all diegetic, so they don't count. Let me see here, seeing if there's any fun bits of information. Of course, the villain of this episode is named Jeff Johns. It is, in fact, after the comic book writer Jeff Johns, who I believe has been involved in the show, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, let's see here. Lionel Luthor doesn't appear in this episode. We know what that means. Here's a fun one. Jeff mentions that he wants to see his former coach, Wayne Quigley, with Clark. However, Walt Arnold from episode 2 of Smallville would have been the coach.
That's true. That Wonder Years dad. The Wonder Years
up.
dad. Yeah. Maybe. Here we go. Coach Quigley was an assistant coach.
It's possible. It's certainly possible.
Coach Quigley could have been there.
It's for sure possible. Let's see. Chloe says, I just have a feeling you're destined to do a lot more in this world than just score touchdowns, which is similar to a line said by Jonathan Kent in the Richard Donner films, which we just watched. Go back and listen. Those are good episodes. Jeff refers to Clark as CK in this episode. In the Lois and Clark TV series, Jimmy Olsen also refers to Clark as CK on a regular basis. Stretch!
Yeah, I mean, so does Jimmy Olsen in this show when he arrives. He just calls him CK, so...
Strangely enough, Clark doesn't seem upset anymore about Alicia Baker's death, which happened in the previous episode, Pariah. However, it is possible that this episode takes place many weeks afterwards, and Clark has already gotten over grieving.
I think I thought I remembered reading that this episode was intended to be aired in a different order, which would have made a lot more sense.
Interesting. I wonder. Yeah, okay, I have here on Jeff Johns. Smallville Johns would go on to write the season 8 episode Legion, and the season 9 double episode Absolute Justice. So he hasn't written and he wrote a couple season 10 episode too. So he hasn't been involved in Smallville yet, but he will.
Okay.
Be. Currently, he's just a comic book writer that is being paid tribute. He was also chief creative officer of DC Entertainment for a while. I think he was involved in the Snyder movies too.
Yes, and I think didn't they bring him on to try to write the ship, and then
yeah, I think DC largely had like a Kevin Feige problem, right? Of like, who's our Kevin Feige, and it's like no one.
Yeah,
and honestly, I don't necessarily think a Kevin Feige role is a good thing, because then you just end up with this fucking Marvel thing that we can't get into this.
No, the vault is staying closed. Do not even talk about Doctor Strange.
I'll put it away. I'm sorry, it's creeping into the frame here on our video chat here. I'll push it away. It has a mind of its own sometimes. Let's see. Actress Brandy Alexander, who plays one of the sorority girls in this episode, also plays one of the exotic dancers in the season 5 episode Exposed.
It could be the same girl. She dropped out of college, or that's how she's paying her way through college.
Right. Let's see. The Metropolis Bulldog Stadium is actually Vancouver's BC Place Stadium. I would walk by that quite often, I think.
No, I think you were walking by the hockey.
Oh, you're probably right.
The hockey stadium.
There was some big dome.
Basketball. Yeah. That was where they.
I'm sure that was the bigger one.
Yeah.
I imagine the hockey dome was bigger than whatever they played football in Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we have an illusion here. When Clark found Lois hiding in the room closet, he asks what she was doing there. She replies, "I could ask you the same question, but it seems very obvious." Hef, referencing the Tycoon publisher. Okay, yeah. No, that's not an illusion. That's just, they mentioned Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
That's it. We're a little short this week, but kind of wasn't that much to fucking say.
No, I think this is the perfect length for this episode. I mean, there's not.
Yeah. All
What's
right,
next
man.
Week's episode? What's next week's
episode? Next week is
Crypto.
Oh
no, we get the dog. Crypto, the super dog.
Oh shit! If we ever need another Evergreen episode, I have not seen the League of Super Pets animated movie that came out.
And neither have I, Brian. If we need any more Evergreen episodes, we still got to do Superman Returns, the movie.
I know. I know. I'm just throwing ones on the fucking.
Yeah.
Throwing them on the pile.
Yes, just put them on top of Batman v Superman. So like we're doing League of Super Pets before we do Batman v Superman.
Yes, Man of Steel. I don't wouldn't be pulling teeth to revisit.
No,
Batman v Superman is my personal hell. Let's see. This has, of course, been the Talon Mix. Hey, we have a Patreon. We don't expect anyone to fucking give us $5 a month for this stupid thing. But if you do, we do have a bonus show, Talon Mix Nights, where we goof around. We have some fun plans for that. So if you want another hour of content a month, check us out there. There's a link to that in the description. Also, there is a link to our Discord. That's the best place to keep in touch with us, because I don't fucking have time for social media and to fucking pretend to tweet about Smallville. They're weird there on Twitter. I think that's everything. Zach, anything else we need to go over, bring up?
No, I'm just trying to think of a question for the Smallville god that I got.
Yeah, speaking of that, hey, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Oh, man. Do the Smallville writers care about the Jason storyline less than I do?